Hello. So this is my other new addition, and this is a little chalk bass. So yes, I'm happy and proud to say I have a little tiny sea bass there now. So I kind of went back and forth on what I really wanted for my tank. I've tried playing around with some smaller gobies, but none of them panned out for me. And so I was looking for something that was unique in color, a fish that I hadn't tried before. And I've always liked the look of these little sea basses, like the tobacco bass and the chalk bass. And it so happened that my local fish store happened to finally have one in at the time when I was interested in trying to find one and looking for something to fill that last sort of little hole for my tank for stocking. Now, the chalk bass is probably my most timid fish. It kind of goes in and out. Admittedly, my flameback angel gave him kind of a hard time when he was first in the tank, and he was pretty spooked by him. But the chalk bass has since become a little bit more bold, and ironically, he is more scared of the other fish than he is of people. And probably because he's learned to associate, people standing near the tank with meaning he's going to get fed. So he is not afraid to come out when people come out. If you go around the tank and start looking in for him, he will come out and actually come and check and see what's going on. Now, coloration-wise, he's being kind of bashful. Coloration-wise, he is... got the sort of whitish sort of blue stripes depending on your lighting, and has a sort of, it's much like the tobacco bass, they have that sort of amber colored stripes that go down the side. Now, these fish, as you can see, he's a bit more timid, hides a little bit more, but he is also the smallest fish in the tank, so it does make sense that he might be a little bit intimidated by his tank mates. He does add some color and activity to the tank, though, and for such a little fish, he actually has a surprisingly big mouth. But that is not necessarily uncommon for basses, whether they be sea or freshwater, that they tend to have larger than average mouths for their body size. So he's actually able to get some pretty large chunks of food, which is pretty interesting to watch him eat, just seeing this tiny little body gulp down big pieces of food. So don't be afraid of making the food bits too large for these guys. Like all my other fish, I feed LRS Reef Frenzy, and that seems to do wonderful for him. He's probably the only fish in my tank who isn't really overly fond of nori seaweed. Doesn't really have much of an interest in that. And anyways, so yeah, he just kind of, hangs in and out of the rock work, and, is slowly but surely getting accustomed to the tank. He's still relatively new. He's only been in here about a week or two. So we'll see how he does in the long run, but the more and more I look at them, the more and more I really enjoy that sort of stripe pattern that they have on their body, and that contrast between the sort of, that whitish blue that shows up under the bluer lights, as well as the sort of tobacco or amber colored striping that goes all across their body. So when they grow out, they get about 3 inches long. Ideally, I would say he's probably suited to maybe smaller and a bit more timid tank mates, but this is a larger tank, and so I figure he's got space and everything, and we'll see how he grows out. They only get, these are, to my knowledge, at least of the ones that you're able to get in the aquarium trade, they only get about 3.5 inches max size in length. So they are definitely by far the smallest of the sea basses that you can get in the aquarium trade, and possibly even just in general being the smallest species. They're really more of a basslet, I guess you could say. These guys also are, just fun for color. They tend to just kind of sit there and hang out, as well as going in and out for secure places to hide. So they just have a tendency to kind of go through the rock work and then periodically kind of pop in and out. Predominantly, as I said, at feeding time, I see him a lot more because he tends to be a lot more active and bold because he wants to get food. So, but anyway, so we'll just see how this guy does, and hopefully he'll adapt a little bit better. I think he's also a bit camera shy because he is usually a bit more active than this. So my apologies that he keeps going and hiding, but he is a little bit spooked by the camera, I think. So anyways, that's all I've got for this update, and this is the last of the fish in my tank. And thanks for watching.